Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 6, 2024 City of Fraser Regular Planning Commission meeting. Please place any cell phones or any other devices that might disrupt this meeting in silent mode or turn off. Would you please stand and pledge allegiance with us? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you doing everything tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that August was not here. Okay. We'll go with agenda item 2, roll call. Ms. Sear, would you please do the roll call?
Commissioner Barr,
Here.
Chair Zarnicki,
Present.
Commissioner Farina,
Present.
Commissioner Kyle,
Present.
Commissioner Meyer,
Here.
Commissioner Tuller,
Here.
Commissioner Warnick.
Here.
Quorum present, thank you. Agenda item 3 is the approval of the agenda of November 6, 2024. We are not going to consider 2 items tonight that are listed on the agenda, but we are going to wait until later in the meeting to postpone both those items. I will ask if there's anybody in the public who wants to speak on item 34625 Utica Road, Mr. Car Wash. There was a public hearing scheduled, but it has been canceled and published as canceled. Anybody in the audience here for Mr. Car Wash? Okay, thank you. I will take a motion to approve the agenda as printed. Anybody?
I'll move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Farina and support by Commissioner Kyle to approve the agenda as printed. Would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Barr,
Yes.
Chair Zarnicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Farina,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuller,
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 4 is the chairperson's opening remarks. Tonight's meeting will follow the agenda that was posted online and has been printed for you here and is available at the entrance to the room. It is important to let everyone know that the Planning Commission is created by state law. The commission is comprised of 7 members, all of whom have volunteered to serve. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by City Council. The role of the Planning Commission is to plan and promote the efficient, coordinated development of the city for the health, safety, and general welfare of its residents. We are not here to negotiate with applicants or allow everything an applicant is requesting. However, the Planning Commission does have the power to approve certain requests and recommend others, depending on the nature of the request and whether all of the standards in the zoning ordinance have been met. The Planning Commission may also impose conditions on a proposed project in order to ensure that those standards are met. Other individuals seated here this evening are the city's legal representative from O'Reilly Rancilio PC, Alyssa Erickson, and the city planner from McKenna and Associates, Lauren Sayre. I will not go through the procedure for public hearings because we are not going to hold a public hearing this evening. Go to agenda item number 5, approval of the minutes, October 2, 2024. Is there any discussion on the minutes or comments? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to accept the minutes.
Second.
Support.
It's been moved by Commissioner Farina and support by Commissioner Kyle to approve the minutes dated October 2, 2024. Would you please do a roll call?
Commissioner Barr,
Yes.
Chair Zarnicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Farina,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Tuller,
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah. Okay, I'm going to combine 2 of the items. New business, A, public hearings, special land use 24-02, 34625 Utica Road, Mr. Car Wash, as well as new business item 6B, I, site plan 24-04, and special land use 24-02, 34625 Utica Road, Mr. Car Wash. The applicant has asked to postpone both those items to our December 4, 2024 meeting. I will entertain a motion to hold that postponement.
I propose that we postpone that, the special use, land use, and the the site plan
I'll support
till
that.
the December 4th meeting.
Okay. It's been moved by Commissioner Meyer and support by Commissioner Warnick to postpone both those items. Would you please do a roll call?
Commissioner Barr?
Yes.
Chair Zarnicki?
Yes.
Commissioner Farina?
Yes.
Commissioner Kyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuller?
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. I'm going to go to items number 6, new business. Item B, site plan special land use review, site plan 24-06, 32924 Groesbeck Highway, Fraser Optical Facade Review. Ms. Lauren, would you please give us a review?
Thanks, Chair Zarnicki. So the applicant is Brandon Kubiak on behalf of Michael Stefani, the owner of Fraser Optical. It's located at 32925 Groesbeck Highway. And so, as this commission's familiar, exterior facade materials that are not exclusively stone and brick have to receive planning commission approval, which is why we're here today. So it's not a full site plan, it's just an exterior facade change. And the applicant is proposing to change from the existing mostly brick and then awning, the fabric awning, to a mega rib corrugated metal cladding system with a brick veneer. So the master plan designates this is in the general commercial district. The master plan designates that facade should be composed of, or the building should be constructed of high-quality materials that wrap around the entire building and feature attractive signage. And we find that the proposed facade material is composed of high-quality materials and does meet the intent of the master plan. Again, we find that more businesses have been requesting portions of the facade to be metal. One notably was Sunbelt, which is in a different district, but still is, along a major thoroughfare. So Sunbelt is in the industrial district, while this is commercial general, although it does front on Groesbeck, near other industrial parcels. Another application that also had the metal would be the Devon storage, which Chair Zarnicki brought to my attention, which was actually a little before my time here. But I think it demonstrates that this shift in building materials, one of the building materials that they're shifting to instead of brick is metal. So overall, we find that it would be attractive and a positive investment in Fraser's retail stock, so we are recommending approval of this. I believe that is it.
Thank you, Ms. Sierra. Is the applicant present? Come on, step forward, state your name, address for the record, and how you are associated with the applicant, with the application.
My name is Brandon Kubiak. My address is 51 Smith Street.
You bring the mic a little bit closer to your mouth. Thank you.
51 Smith Street, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. I'm the contractor for Mike Stefani.
Okay, do you have anything else to add to the report by Ms. Sarah?
She pretty much summed up everything that was going on. So
Okay, okay. All right. Any comments or questions of the applicant?
Yes.
Commissioner Farina?
I have no idea what the material is. Did you bring us samples so that we could look at it?
No, I don't have any stuff. The material would be similar to like a metal roof. So it's pretty much a corrugated metal, about a 50-year warranty on it.
But being that close to the ground, I mean,
No, the bottom is just stone. The metal is,
yeah.
so the metal starts about 42 inches up, and the bottom is a veneer stone.
And you think that that's going to shield it from like stones flying off cars and,
Right now, it's just it's black with stucco over it, so what we're doing, so it's gonna be light years better than what's there.
And this is galvanized metal,
Painted.
just painted.
It's galvanized and painted. I believe it's epoxy coated prime too.
Commissioner Kyle? Right? Yes?
Oh, that's me.
Oh, that was, Commissioner Warnick, I'm sorry.
Is Commissioner Farina done? Yeah. I didn't know. Okay. Are you aware that there's an ordinance in the city that doesn't allow painted brick unless it's actually section 3237. Any building with a brick facade shall not be painted or covered with another material that has not been approved collectively by the city planner and the building official. And when it's usually brought to us, in the past, we have no problem with it if it's done with the proper materials. And the biggest problem is people just start painting it.
Oh, yeah.
And I went around the city the past couple days and I took pictures even of ones that are peeling already. So there's a process and there's a product that make it okay to do as long as it's not going to be peeling, because we don't want to see it down the road. So it becomes a maintenance issue, and we don't, I'm sure ordinance officer doesn't want to be coming around all the time and writing it up for
Oh, yeah.
peeling paint.
Yep.
So previously, when I was administration here for the Planning Commission, we brought in Sherwin-Williams, and they went through a product just for that. So there are products available. So it's just a matter of, I think just like Commissioner Farina said about bringing the material so we can see it, this would be the same thing, just supplying that so it can be approved.
What part are you talking about that's painted?
Oh, the back.
Yeah, the back would be, just like you said, Sherwin-Williams, the specs that they put out for.
Yeah, as long as you meet all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it does have to be approved at least. So when you submit for your permits, just submit at least all your manufacturers and the specs on it, yeah.
Would you want samples as well?
I
For the
don't know, that'll be up to the
melons?
building official and see when you submit there. But the main thing is that we know that the product is going to be that way. So we can, between us verbally, you just telling us that it is going to be that type of product.
Oh, no, I get what you're
It'll
saying.
be up to them to verify it,
Yeah,
okay? But if we just pass it off and let you just do it willy-nilly,
no,
we might be having a problem down the road, and who they're going to say, well, who are the ones that approve this? And that's us. So we don't want to be coming back at and
Yep.
somebody saying that.
totally understand, because
We want to keep nice-looking buildings, and this looks like it's going to be a beautiful addition to that. When I saw the overhang there, you got to have probably 1 million birds up in there.
yeah,
It's-
I think it was last done in the 70s, maybe.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, long time ago when they did the addition on it, I think, and stuff. But this is going to be a big change, and after being here for 46 years and looking at that building, it'll be just another nice building to add down Groesbeck Road,
Definitely.
Groesbeck Highway. So it'll be, I think, an addition to the city, plus all the way. So we just want to make sure
That's done right,
that it's done right, that's all.
100% agree.
Other than that, though, it's beautiful. I think it's going to be nice.
Ms. Sarah, you have comments?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Zarnicki. I just forgot to mention, the elevation does show proposed locations for new signs, but any new signage will have to be approved through the city for a separate permit.
Those signs are just like, like Ray-Ban sunglasses that'll be swapped out here and there,
It'll also have to meet the standards for window signage as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Another thing I noticed on that, on the north elevation, there's a door there besides the overhead door. But on your even before pictures, it doesn't show it. Is that door going to stay?
Yeah, that
No, is it, are
No,
you
they're not
using
the overhead door. I'm talking about a
No, it's on the
service
north
door.
side.
Yeah,
It's
north
on the
side
north
has a
side.
service door.
Yeah.
Yep, that's still there.
So it's still there, it's just not in the pictures then?
Right there on the.
No, the overhead door is there. The proposed elevation on the bottom, that's the north elevation right there. That's the only one that doesn't give a direction, so that's the north one though.
Yep.
And next to that overhead door, there's a service door.
Oh, yeah, that's gone.
Oh, it is going to be gone then?
Yep.
Okay, so that's coming out then. So when you do all this finish work, you'd never know it was there.
Right.
So, okay.
Yeah.
And you did say in here that you're going to be tuck pointing the back wall that I was talking about.
Yeah, there's that needs, there's like all over the place. There's random tuck point that needs to be, some up
Yeah.
on the roof and stuff, so.
Would you speak just a little, I just want to make sure you're on the video, sir, just speak a
Yep.
little bit louder and into the microphone.
I'm sorry, miss, it was,
That was it.
She
I can't hear you.
Any more from you? I
No,
have
that
a
was
lot.
it.
I'm, you know.
yeah, no, I'll leave it up to you then to finish.
What color scheme are you going to be using, Mr. Kubiak?
The metal will be a darker color, possibly black, and then the bottom will be a like natural stone color. From what I was aware of, there's certain colors that you guys will only approve, so it'll kind of be in your hands what's
In our building department,
yeah, what
most
I can
likely,
and cannot
not
do.
us.
Mike's open to any color scheme, you know what I mean? It's nothing set in stone yet.
Is Mr. Stefani open to maybe breaking up that east facade and putting a little bit more stone as opposed to it all being the corrugated material?
Possibly, I can talk to him.
I'm not fond of having it all the corrugated one. I would love to have stone all the way across the east side. Would Mr. Stefani consider that, do you think?
Possibly.
What's possibly mean?
I mean, I can't.
Would you approach him with it?
Yeah, definitely.
That-
I mean, he's all about making everyone happy, so if that's what makes you happy.
That building, it appears that Commissioner Warnick went to, on the site visit, I did, and it needs some help.
Yep.
So we do appreciate your coming forward with this. I just, because it's in a different zoning district, I just hate to go with the corrugated building material. I would prefer it, at least the east side, be all brick. And do you have any mechanical roof equipment?
No,
No?
none of that.
Okay. Let's see.
No air movers or,
Nope.
Well, I just want to, can we, since you're on that question, can I
Go ahead.
some
and-
input?
Okay.
I,
yes.
I like that idea too with the stone look on the whole front, but now we kind of left it kind of vague by saying that, would he be acceptable to that? And then going the whole way or going higher. So I would like to at least have another option maybe as long as you went to the above the windows and the awning.
Yeah.
And that would be, it would definitely look a lot better there. But I don't know if.
I would be
you
okay
be
with that.
acceptable to that too?
I would be okay with that, yeah. It's just, to me, it just needs something.
Then
to
it doesn't
up.
break up around the sides.
Yep.
Because it'll still have that look and the color, because that color is going to be a little different. And I think it would blend in nice with the sides,
Mm-hmm.
just going above the windows. And that's really not much more product. If you look at that,
No.
with all those windows,
Correct.
it,
Right.
you're not doing much. So cost-wise, it's probably going to be pretty close to the same. You know, that brick, and I don't know if the brick's a panel
No,
or if it's individual.
They're individuals. I
Yeah.
mean, the cost would be a little bit more, but
Yeah.
that's a fair compromise.
Yeah, and it's not that much there, really, like I said. So if that's acceptable with Chairman,
Yes, I'm okay with that. Commissioner Farina, go
how
ahead.
do we approve if we don't know that he's going to approve?
I don't know
How
that
do we
question.
make it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I could approve it. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like I said, he just said, whatever needs to be done, get it done.
Or can he
So-
talk for the owner? I don't know.
I mean, I'd have to look at the application to see if the owner himself has signed off on him being his representative. But like you said, Mr. Farina, it does get into a weird area where if the planning commission decides to approve it, with that being the condition, and the actual owner of the property isn't able to do that or meet that condition, then it gets kind of in a weird situation, so.
Do you want a copy of the application? You don't
I
see
think
it?
I have a copy.
Yep, thank you.
Just to let you know, the window signs, we just went through an update, but the update is going to say that only 25% of the window can be covered or with signage.
Or transparency, right, yes.
So,
Okay.
because you were saying those are going to be changed out.
That won't take into effect until the sign ordinance is,
It's in effect now. We kept it the same. remember?
okay, all right, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm thinking back, it seems so many times we get just the contractor here, the person in charge of construction representing the owner at most of our meetings, I think, so.
Yeah, that's correct. And it does look like the legal property owner did sign off on the application and is aware that Mr. Kubiak is obviously the contractor for the site and the applicant, so.
Okay,
Okey-doke.
okay. Commissioner Meyer?
How is this metal siding attached to the building? Is it going to be wood nailers? Will it be metal stud? Is it going to act as a rain screen?
The wall will be furred out
Okay.
to accept the new cladding.
Okay. And has the drawings gone to the building department? I noticed that they said that the drawings had for permit. Have those drawings been submitted to the city?
Yep.
Okay. Just so that you know, it's one of my nitpicky items, but your code analysis is incorrect. You have the wrong applicable codes for the City of Fraser, so don't be surprised if that comes back as a comment that will have to be changed.
Okay.
We can count on you, Commissioner Meyer.
You know which ones you're talking, which codes?
Well, it says Michigan Electrical Code 2017, that should be 2024. The mechanical code should say 2023. The plumbing code is incorrect. The Michigan Building Code is correct at 2015. And the rehab code is correct as well.
And the electrical is 2023, not 2024.
2023, you're right, 2023, yeah. So, and I don't know, some cities want everything resubmitted, so that's why I bring it up.
Ms. Sierra, I have a question which I completely forgot to ask you. Well, and maybe Ms. Erickson also. Because it's a facade review only, there's no other items that we can discuss or consider? Like improvement on the parking or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's not a full site plan request or amendment. It's simply just for the facade. So
Okay.
obviously, if there's conditions or things of that nature actually germane to that request, obviously that can be discussed or added as a condition. But yeah, it's not about the site in general.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
I might be able to answer a question you
Well,
have,
that's, I,
actually.
no, that's just be me. So it's nothing that we can consider with your application. The parking lot needs a little bit of help, as well as the entry, perimeter entry sidewalk into the front door.
I will say that that
kinda
is
Crumbling.
on the radar for,
Okay, yes. I assume once you improve on the facade that is going to follow suit.
yep, most likely.
Where the orange cones are is
Yep.
definitely
Yes,
a hazard
yes.
area.
Yes, okay. All right, so Mr. Kubiak, you're comfortable if we make a resolution that would include the east facade as all stone, or up above the window? You're comfortable with our, your choice?
Yeah.
You can say yay, okay, I'm comfortable with it, or we can postpone the item until you talk to the owner.
No, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you. You can have a seat. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I'll entertain a motion if anybody wants
public?
to.
Public
Any
hearing.
public to be heard?
Thank you very much. I will open the floor to anybody who would like to speak on this item. Anybody in the audience would like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public comment portion. Thank you, Commissioner Warner.
I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
to approve site plan SP 24-06-32925 Groesbeck Highway, Fraser Optical facade review with conditions, and stating each one, they would be changing the east front elevation from the submitted drawings showing a lower masonry wall to a higher, taking it up to at least the top line of the windows and awning. And that submittal of documentation provided to the building department for substantiating the longevity and adhesive properties of the paint product that'll be added to the existing substrate. I think that cover it?
I think so.
I think you have, yes. Thank you, Commissioner Warnick.
One question. If we all agree that that's a safety problem where the orange cones are, shouldn't that be a part of a site plan? I mean, even a facade review? It's a safety.
This being just a facade change, it's not an addition, how would we treat that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Mr. Farino. What was your question? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you over here.
The orange cones that are out there, because there's concrete problems,
Okay.
are a safety issue, okay? Shouldn't we address a safety issue?
But that's really not within the purview of the planning commission. So if that's something in terms of property maintenance, where the cement is breaking down and needs repair,
We should refer it to the building.
that would be something that would be within the building department's purview rather than the planning commission's
Well,
purview.
here's the problem. The city doesn't have a sidewalk program to fix problem sidewalks. Okay.
I don't think that
Will
was
you-
the sidewalks, that's the parking lot.
Right, it's the parking lot.
They'd have to meet the engineering standards, so
Yes.
that's all engineering too, so.
What about updating the specs?
Oh, the data on the site plan?
Oh, what's, any missing or,
Misstated.
yeah, that's actually but the submittal for the permit.
Yeah, and I would also recommend that providing an updated plan with the proposed modified east elevation in accordance with the planning commission's motion would also be a condition.
Yeah.
So then that way, obviously, the applicant's aware that a new plan should be submitted to the building department based on the motion this evening if that passes.
So I'll add that as just provide an updated plan showing the conditions that we talked about, any changes that are part of our approval process.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved by Commissioner Warnick and support by Commissioner Farina. We have 3 conditions to this, correct?
Yes.
Ms. Sarah, do you have the conditions, or would you like them repeated?
Ms. Warren will reference the video when she's doing minutes.
Okay, okay. All right. Would you do a roll call, please?
Madam Chair, if I will, if I may.
Yes.
Just to clarify Mr. Warnick's motion, so I understand it as well, is that the request is, or the condition is that the stone would be from where it is right now at the bottom all the way to the top of the windows, is that correct? At least to that point?
At least to the top of the windows
Okay.
and the awning.
In the awning, so one could end up being higher than the other, so I would say the topmost product.
The topmost in between the awnings and the windows?
Ye-
So whichever one is taller?
Whatever's taller, that be the line that's kept constant across the front.
Okay.
It-
And then in theory, then the corrugated metal could be at the very tip top?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding your motion.
Mr. Kubiak, could you come to the table? I'm just going to kindly ask you if you understand what the conditions are.
Yeah, the way she mentioned it was a little bit different than we talked about it It's just on the east elevation, even with the tops of the windows. Correct?
Mr. Warren?
Whole-
It would be
And the top of the awning.
the top of the awning, because to keep, I think, consistency across, because then you'd be stepping up or down if we,
I will
just
say
said
as-
that.
as-
So I'd say the topmost horizontal line from one end to the other.
So the top of the awning,
This is the problem, because in the picture, doesn't mean that's what it's gonna end up as. So looking at the picture, it looks like that would be that about, but
aesthetically, I don't think it would look well if it was to the top of the awning, but
And not-
maybe a little bit above the windows, that would look.
that would look weird.
But
And
if you went to the top of the awning, you're gonna have very little metal, you might
Right.
as well just go all the way at that point.
and that's an option too, because we can accept that or more. So why don't we just say top of the windows or more?
Okay.
I'll change my motion to that.
Okay,
I resecond.
okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Kubiak. I'm glad we
But
got that
Did you
clarified.
understand the other portions of the motion?
Oops. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, so we do have a motion, and it was moved by Commissioner Warnick and support by Commissioner Farina with the three conditions as changed at the very last moment.
And I do think sorry, Madam Chair.
It's okay.
I did think that the actual language of the motion is to approve the exterior facing materials. I don't know if we got that as clear in the motion, but I would, just to make the record clear, rather than a site plan approval. So
Is your stating that making the record clear?
that's fine.
Okay,
As long as Mr. Warnick and Mr. Farina are okay with it.
No problem at all.
Okay.
okay,
Yeah, I'm okay.
okay, all right. Ready for a roll call?
All right. Commissioner Barr? Chair Zarnicki?
Yes.
Commissioner Farina?
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner Kyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuller?
Yes.
Wanted to do that.
Commissioner Warnick?
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Kubiak, and please tell Mr. Stefani that's wonderful that you're working with us.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Please tell him that he got away without a bike rack from our,
Oh, that's right. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
my.
like, it's not,
If you really want to, add a bike rack. That's okay. Thank
have a
you.
bunch of empty
Thank you,
bike
Mr.
racks.
Kubiak. Okay, that's taken care of.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Farina.
the next item. I'd like to simplify this.
Okay.
I'd like to recommend Joanne Barr, Renee Meyer, and Randy Warnick be reappointed to the Planning Commission by acclamation.
You don't want to ask him any questions or, put him on
I'm
the
afraid I
spot?
know too much about them.
he doesn't want to know
Okay.
anymore.
All right. Do we have support for that
No
motion?
support.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Farina and support by Commissioner Kyle to recommend to City Council the reappointments of Joanne Barr, Renee Meyer, and Randy Warnick to the City Planning Commission, term ending December 31, 2027. Would you do a roll call, please?
This might be a question for Ms. Erickson. Do I roll call everyone?
Oh, okay.
Acclamation.
I think we actually have always done a roll call vote for this, haven't we? Isn't the acclamation usually
We
just for the
used- We
nomination,
used to have,
for nomination of officers?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
all right,
I think that we've only done acclamation for actually nominating the officer positions. I don't think we've ever done, I think it actually needs a motion, so.
okay.
So everyone, I
you-
can roll call everyone? Okay.
Maybe before the roll call, I should ask if anybody has any comments to that motion? Any discussion? No? Anybody in the public who want to speak on the reappointment of these three terrific commissioners that we have on board? Nobody, okay. All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Barr?
Yes.
Chair Zarnicki?
Yes.
Commissioner Farina?
Yes.
Commissioner Kyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Tuller?
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Welcome for another 3 years.
Okay, now we're going to go to agenda item 7, unfinished business, driveway expansion text amendments. Ms. Sarah?
Thank you. So tonight, in the memo, and I'm sorry about the formatting, I got cut off at the bottom, but we're here to discuss driveway expansion. It's been a topic that's frequently brought up with residents applying for an expansion of their driveway, and currently the provision in section 3292-10 is that residential off-street parking spaces for 1 and 2 family use shall consist of a parking strip, driveway, garage, carport, or combination thereof, and shall be located on the premise they are designated to serve. Parking shall be restricted to paved areas. Paved areas shall not be permitted in any required side yard or any required front yard, except the driveway located in the front yard, unless it's necessary to provide access for a side entry garage, detached garage, or side or rear required parking spaces, and horseshoe drives may not be used to satisfy the parking requirements. So how planning has interpreted this is that when residents want to expand their driveway out because they've got maybe 3 or 4 cars instead of traditionally 2, it's not required to provide access to the necessary parking, which is typically 2 parking spaces, and so therefore not permitted under this ordinance. We've found that a lot of residents are seeking that, and it has been an ongoing issue. And so we're looking for a sort of advanced text amendment. I know we're redoing the ordinance, but that won't be done for another year or more. So we're looking to try to address this and modernize this provision in advance, as it's come up quite a bit. So today, what we have is looking at a couple peer communities and how they've handled driveways in their ordinance. And it's just a discussion item, so we would like to get Planning Commission's feedback on the direction they would like to take. And using that feedback, I believe it's an intent to come back in December with some draft language for Planning Commission's review. So first up is East Point's, which was adopted in 2023. And so East Point's zoning ordinance has a set area requirement, and it's standardized regardless of like parking configuration. So we note that we would likely have to set a minimum for residents if there's no garage or carport, as this ordinance doesn't clarify that. They also go on to commercially licensed vehicles, but I cut that out just as it wasn't relevant to the residential in terms of what we're talking about here. So that's one direction. Another is Madison Heights. Madison Heights, which was adopted in 2024, it differentiates the maximums of paved area by where the driveway leads. For example, if it's leading to an attached garage, a detached garage, or a property without a garage. We'd likely need to remove the types of driveways that Fraser doesn't permit, such as the circular or the ribbon. And additionally, Madison Heights allows a parking pad, which is another item that residents have been asking about. It's something that maybe, I guess we would like direction if this is something you'd like to consider adding as well. And then finally, Centerline, which was adopted in 2016. Centerline is similar to Fraser's ordinance, but it specifies a maximum lot coverage for driveways in the front yard. That's, again, another direction, again, similar, and then there would be a maximum coverage. Currently, the lot coverage is defined as the part or the lot occupied by buildings and structures, including accessory building structures, so it does not currently involve pavement, so that is something we'd also likely be looking to update to include paved areas as well. With that being said, does anyone have any initial thoughts or comments on the direction?
I'm very confused by all this, because
I am
I've,
too.
oh, thank
Okay,
you.
okay,
I-
apologies.
I'm confused by why it's in front of us and what we are trying to fix, I guess. I mean, you have residents coming in and asking for the driveway to be, just tell me how this all came about. That would help me.
It's been ongoing. The zoning board at one point had some discussions on it as well. But then things always kind of came up, so it got pushed down. But it is still an ongoing issue of residents, again, wanting to expand their driveway. This ordinance was written in 1996 when there's likely, 2 cars was the maximum. And so it worked then, but now folks have more cars. They want more space to park. And the ordinance is, how planning interprets it is that they are not allowed to expand. There's been some discrepancies in the past with previous building officials interpreting it differently. So we do have some cases where it's not necessarily being evenly applied. So we would like to get a more even application of this by updating this standard so that so that more residents can, I guess, use their property how they want without, sometimes they're not pulling a permit, sometimes it was approved previously. So again, we just want to get clear standards on it so that are updated to work for generally what people are wanting to do with their property.
So it is a permit process. They do come.
Well, there never was. There was no permits required except in the right-of-way. So concrete was not, driveways, parking strips were not required for permits before. The only time we ever, in my whole,
Years
so
of-
since the 90s.
Okay.
Let me put it that way, because that I know for sure. And,
No, I had to pull a permit. I was gonna, you had mentioned no circle driveways in your,
The horseshoe,
there's horseshoe driveways. in
yeah,
the-
I mean, I put one in my house in Fraser and
are you sure
And
you
it-
want to tell me this?
in the 90s, well, no, I pulled
There's-
permits. I
yeah.
had to pull permits because I had to do.
Only
default.
for the approaches,
Yeah,
though.
just the
Only in
approach.
the right-of-way, not on your property, not on your personal property. We made a big stink of impervious surface, having an impervious surface ordinance because of the problem with people putting too much concrete and not having area for water to penetrate into the ground and go away because it would be taken and moving to adjacent property owners. So when people came forward to us and would ask about this, we'd let them know, well, we don't have an ordinance saying you can't be, of where you can be, but we always say you cannot take water from your property and put it on another property. So what we would tell people when they were trying to expand their driveway is they had to stay at least 12 inches away. I know Sterling Heights is 18 inches because I inspected there, and they do have permits for all theirs. And 18 inches was the distance. We always, it was just we didn't have anything specified. It was 12 inches, or if you wanted to go closer, you had to have a curb, at least a 4-inch curb, so it kept the water onto your property and took it down toward the street. So we had a system, and it worked all the years, but the thing is, since there's no permit required, who's babysitting this? That's the problem, because people can go and start putting in concrete that's not in the right-of-way. So it only came to when they were expanding their driveway into the right-of-way. So the biggest situation is that all the layouts of everybody's property is so different. It's so hard to get something that's going to be consistent throughout the city. It's not fair yet. Like I brought it up at our last meeting when you even brought this up. You got people on 13 Mile that don't have anything to have people parking at their property. They got to go park at a church down the road and walk the sidewalk because there's no room, because you can't put it in the front yard. So we didn't allow parking in the front yard, beyond from the sidewalk on. So people wanted to put it between the sidewalk and the street, just so they could have something, even a turnaround, because they can't back up onto 13 Mile Road. It's dangerous. So there's so many situations that this just can't be so clear cut. I see no way to do it, and all you're gonna do is create problems in the city.
I mean, truthfully, there are problems, especially if there's nothing to regulate on either. Additionally, we do require permits for driveways.
So if it did,
Not-
McKenna started that then, because it was not ever for, I know at least well, never was, because I know all the previous building officials all the way back to the 70s.
I can look into when that started.
Yeah,
Ever
it
since
was
I've been
McKenna
here,
that
I've
started. I
always
know that for a
been-
fact. So McKenna started the process of permits for it.
I would still say I agree with having that permitted to regulate that people aren't just paving their whole front yards
That's
because
why
we do
some
get
cities do it, yes.
of that.
So that's not what I'm questioning. I'm questioning how you can
How you
have a
standardize-
process,
standardize
standardized
it,
when you
right.
have so many different things, so many existing things.
I would-
Horseshoe driveways, they're throughout the city and stuff. Well, you're gonna go make people tear them out. So you're talking pre-existing conditions are okay, and now we're gonna put conditions on everybody else, and they've got something that's more acceptable to maybe allowing something like that. That's what I mean. Every condition has to be, every property has to be looked at for its own properties of it.
I would say then I would go with the lot coverage route.
Yeah.
And are we talking cement only, or how about, I know some places have stones or anything like that to fill in?
We currently don't permit that.
Okay.
It has to be concrete or asphalt.
Commissioner Farina, go ahead.
I think lot coverage is a good way to go. Better way to go, because I worry about runoff. Even if you have 18 inches and you're on clay, like I am, it runs, the water runs. So I think that something that limits the coverage. Now, let me ask a question. In the right-of-way, are people allowed to park their cars in the right-of-way? Between the sidewalk and the street?
On grass or?
That's the problem. If it's
Well-
gonna be on a paved surface.
I've seen where people have scraped out the grass and put rock in there.
Yes.
If it's not paved, they're not permitted to park there. Whether it happens or not, is a different story, but
Parking's restricted to a paved surface.
I believe it's an improved surface, isn't it?
concrete or asphalt?
Concrete or asphalt.
Specifically,
the only things,
so
yeah.
crushed rock, all that stuff is not,
I think we need to not only look at that, because I've been in parking lots now, and maybe that's a way out for all of us, is go with some kind of service that allows drainage through,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
And they do have that concrete that they came out with.
That's what we
now.
talked about for the parking areas,
For
like
parking
for
areas.
hockey land and stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, you gotta look at, things do change as it goes along too, so.
Randy's right. I mean, there's, you know, all these old houses are there. You know,
We're not building new subdivisions, there's no room to.
well, yeah.
And that's where all this stuff comes into play in design of that subdivision. So most of this stuff is for new subdivisions in bigger towns.
Developments, right.
yeah.
Yeah, so new development,
Centerline is like us. I mean, you know, really,
yeah.
right? I mean, they're an older community. They're about the same size as we are, you know?
They are.
That would be a
I
relative.
think they might be 2 square miles only or something. But
I don't know, I think, you know, lot coverage would be one. I don't think that we should allow parking in the right-of-way at all. I mean, but I know in Warren, if you go down Hayes, there are a lot of houses because they have a large right-of-way there, and people have put stone down there, and they park their cars there, you know.
Well, I think one of the big reasons they do, though, is we got parking time requirements in these subdivisions where you can't park for snow
Right.
emergencies or during certain hours of the day during the winter.
Right.
And because you can't maintain. So then, well, if they can park over there, at least they can still park and it's not in the way of the
Snowplow.
snowplow. That's why this is there's so many instances that make this so hard to be precise and say this and that. Also, where the fact came up that counting for lot coverage, things like, you know, the decks and all that stuff, there's certain things, if it doesn't have a footing, it shouldn't be counted for lot coverage, is my personal feeling, because that was in here too. And we always count it, only if it had a footing does it count for lot coverage. So when you're limiting lot coverage to people for accessory buildings and things like that. So I don't, I'm getting ahead of ourselves, I think, because that's further on with it, but I just think we need to discuss this more, or,
So you wouldn't consider patios or any concrete walks in lot coverage?
not for lot
Not
coverage.
unless there's a footing.
Yep, we
Because
never did.
we have had instances where residents are paving the entirety of their backyard.
Well, that's back to impervious surface ordinance of putting things that they can't pave that much area. But you're talking of buildings, when you figure lot, if you're doing a lot coverage for figuring how much they can put of accessory structures and things like that. That's where that all comes into play, because we give a percentage. So each thing is like either 25% or 30%, depending on the residential district. When you start adding all those things, I guarantee you people can't put in a garage. They're going to have to come for a variance for every single one of these things. All this stuff does is create more variance requirements, which cost people a lot of money, which then puts the pressure on people up here on the zoning board to do it. It's almost like we're just trying to make the city money or trying to make some, more work. I think it works pretty good the way it is, and yeah, maybe some people want more variances. I think you would want to have less variances.
I think that's the whole purpose of,
That's the purpose of it.
right, yeah, you want less variances.
So when you start doing,
Well, that's why we're trying to update it so that
Right.
more people can be in compliance.
That part I
well, but you're
understand.
making it stricter when you add lot density requirements of counting more things. Now, they can't even meet the 25% because they have all these other things, and there's nothing that they can't put a shed up or anything. And they do have room, but your lot density coverage doesn't allow them to put one there. You see where I'm getting at?
I believe how Centerline does it, they say no driveway located should occupy more than 50% of the front yard, something like that. And that's what I'm considering as lot coverage, so it can be broken out separately.
See, I'm talking
Issue.
lot, so when you put on lot coverage, and you got for, RL is 25 and RM is 30, that is used for building purposes. When we issued a permit, we always had to do a zoning review of lot coverage and then see that, no, you're covering too much already, we can't allow that. Well, if we started counting where they got a patio and things like that, there's no footings there, it just isn't right, in my view. That's my own, I don't know how everybody else feels.
I agree with you.
I just think you're creating more need for variances.
We don't want to do that.
I mean, if you
No,
drive
I
down the
think you want to
side,
avoid that.
well, I better shut up.
I'm going to go with Commissioner Meyer and then Commissioner Tuller.
Well, there are communities that have zoning ordinances that state that you can only have a certain square footage of paved area, whether it be drive, parking. Now, in most cases, it's commercial in intent, but there are, I can't give you one off the top of my head, but I do know that we've had them where we've had to figure out the square footage of the parking areas or that, so that we meet that requirement. And if there's too much, then you have to put in more landscaping or that. So I know that there are communities that do have that requirement. And it is strict, it says right in the ordinance, it's paved area. So there are ordinances where there are requirements for a maximum amount of area.
What I
required.
hear you, though, is that's for commercial only.
No, I'm saying that's where we come
are.
across it the
Okay.
Yeah,
most.
there is all the time. There's
But-
I think every zone community has that, no matter what, there's things. So I'm just, if we stay just with the driveway part, and that, I think, is where we should be heading, but not adding it as lot coverage area for everything then. So, because as soon as you do that, you have to look at everything else for lot coverage. So I think we're adding more problems into here when we just wanted to concentrate on the driveway stuff and
Yeah,
the
that's-
impervious surface.
Yeah, and that was the intent, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what it seems like,
Okay,
but as
that's
soon
fair.
as you go to that part of that, the additional requirements or considerations, that's where I think it screws everything else up. So if we stay focused on just one thing, then that makes more sense. Then we start figuring out then. But I think we just got to start the right way.
No? You've given up?
I
We need your feedback.
don't think I have anything really to say that's going to impact what we're talking about, to be honest. I was really just more curious, are we, like, I know you said that there's like people that want to pave their entire backyard, but then that's obviously taken care of by the whole impervious surface, ordinance. We aren't going to have that issue.
I
Like, are
don't
we-
believe we have an impervious surface ordinance.
We
Oh,
don't.
yeah. We had it planning, this is previous to McKenna. There's an actual ordinance in there for impervious surface. We adopted it, the city adopted it. So
I'm
you
not-
need to
do
go
you know
back
what
and see.
Section, because I didn't see it in a
Yeah,
search of
there's one that was
impervious.
adopted, and it's probably not in this, it's not in this zoning text, but it was all adopted and approved by council and everything. So Frank, do you remember when that was? That was with the previous planners before
McKenna?
community planning,
Yeah,
when
that was
Pat Maher,
Pat.
yeah. So we have a definite impervious surface ordinance.
Okay.
Quick search does not locate that, but I'm
Yeah.
also trying to work quickly, so.
Yeah, the
it in
easiest
the
way I
zoning
can
ordinance?
say is you can go, and it is adopted. I don't know that it ever got into the text or anything. It was done,
I know Municode's been, it was updated in 2020, as recently.
yeah, it's,
parking, but
all we gotta
I
do is
don't
go back to the meetings for the zoning and planning, and it was in front of them, and.
But if it's never been in the text,
That's what surprises me, then, it never.
well, I was
never
going to
got
say
into
then
it.
it's not adopted, to my opinion, if it's not within the text.
Council adopted it. We did a long process with it, because we had a pool. I know Renee's probably familiar with this one, because I think it's right by your house, but it's a pool in the backyard with all concrete, and there is no grass at all back there or anything. And,
That'd be cool, you ain't got more grass.
yeah, there's no mowing of grass, but its problem is for the neighbors all around them. So that started the impervious surface ordinance, and I know it's there, we just need to do some homework then. And I know if we go back through the minutes of the meetings, it's been in paper form and everything. It was developed, just the same process when we add something here. So, I think before proceeding with this, we need to do some investigation and do some more talking.
I'm going to, there are two people in the audience are here for this specific reason. Would you like to speak? And if you do, please come up and identify yourself.
Just don't hurt your hand again.
I'm going to say, you look like you're in pain. You doing
Yeah, I
okay?
had surgery, had a nerve, pop a muscle, I just
Yeah.
opened my whole arm up.
Brutal.
Weirdest thing. Hi. Nervous.
Don't be nervous. Just say your name first.
My name is Douglas Buchanan. I live at 15767 Kingston Drive.
I was going to ask.
Here we go, sorry.
There we go. Okay, repeat it, please, sir.
My name is Douglas Buchanan. I live at 15767 Kingston Drive.
I grew up in this house. We moved in 1978, and I acquired the house. I bought the house off the family estate after father died about 2 years ago. So anyway, so I decided to do some home improvements. I wanted to get some all new siding and gutters. So the company I hired said they could do the cement on the side,
On the side of the
on the
house?
east side of it's a colonial house. So he said, yeah, no problem. So then he came down the city, got rejected, and told me the news. And this is after I already cut a tree down and got everything prepped up and stuff. So anyway, so long story short, I came up to the city to see what the deal was, and they said they wanted an $800 severance to file paperwork for such, the interest of this. And I'm like, this is
The
ridiculous.
permit costs, 800? Okay.
$800. No, not a permit for a.
For the variance, probably.
A variance.
Oh, the variance,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Gotcha.
So then I was informed about this meeting, and this is, why I'm here.
That's good.
So the house right next to me has a pad of cement right on the side of their house, and that's where I got the idea. Okay, so I have 3 cars, and I have a Tesla, and I don't want to park it in the garage because I'm just superstitious like that.
Okay.
So I have 3 cars and a motorcycle, and basically I thought, well, if I put cement there, then I'd have, more room. Then my girlfriend didn't have to park in the street, or I don't have to park any cars in the street when I have company over. It's always shuffling cars and stuff like that, So then I went down the street, and I took pictures, and I looked around. There's 12 houses on my street that have this. And there's a new one on Old Kingston. They just put up cement on the front city part, and they're parking out front there. So long story short, I'm like, well, doesn't seem fair, and some of the stuff is not that old, People are just doing it, So,
Not knowing they have to have a permit.
right,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm looking for is just to go, I have cement, I have a walk path that goes there, so I was gonna replace that cement and just put a little extra on the side to go up to my fireplace to have that extra pad, So that's really where I'm at.
Okay.
I can show you all the pictures if you want to see the houses on the street with all that.
I'm going to ask you the street name again because I didn't catch it.
Kingston.
Drive.
Kingston, okay, gotcha.
Which, the older area or newer?
The newer one, the Fruhoff Heights. So this is just a slideshow of all the houses with all these cement sidings.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise
Yeah,
me.
there's even one with a
The
horse.
slideshow it's on.
Huh?
It's on a slideshow.
Yeah.
So
Your
so
streets,
where Cambridge dead ends into Kingston.
Yes.
So if you were going into it, are you left or right?
Left. So as soon as you make it.
Oh, so you're right before the court.
Yeah,
it's-
I'm across right from Cambridge. There's a corner house on the east side, south side. I'm on the north side of that. Yeah,
Okay,
right across the street.
yeah. All right, so it was probably built in the 70s?
1978.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cheller, go ahead, please.
so this is my neighborhood, and this street is my daily dog walk street. And I can absolutely tell you that there's a ton of houses that have exactly what he's trying to do, including there's a few that I note that have some very pretty RVs that I get a little jealous of, that are just nicely tucked up and perfectly against the house. They look great, and
That's,
that, I get it, man. I get it.
Well,
I hear you.
RVs are allowed as long as they're behind the face of the garage, I'm
Right.
assuming.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they got
But
to
you
be on
still
a
have
paved,
that concrete there.
they have to be on a
that
paved
one's like a
surface.
double
so.
wide.
Yeah.
It's a huge RV. Yeah.
It's
They have to be on it.
and they tuck it in nicely, and it just sits right there, and it's on that pad all the way
Well,
to the back.
there's a lot of technical issues when it came to that because you could have them parked on a paved thing with a strip of grass like between them and things like that, which they have further down. If I remember one on a corner of a court on Cambridge, maybe 2 streets from Hayes,
Okay.
where somebody's parked, has a motorhome parked, and I think they're just on like strips, concrete strips.
Yeah.
I think the whole, and this is new, whatever's going on now, I'm talking in the past.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on now is newer. the way things are going, but I just, when it says consist of a parking strip, we had the same thing in ours, a parking strip, so it kind of made it vague, I think. And that's when they probably started doing those kind of things, because I always wondered, why would you want to have grass in the middle when you can't, you got to move it to cut it then. So it ends up being an eyesore, because some people would leave these things parked and go to Florida or something. And then, you know, yeah, that's a winter time, but it's not maintained underneath there and stuff, so, but you are talking about a driveway extension or a
On the
pad?
side of the driveway, because on the city part, there's a fire hydrant there right at mine, in front of my area. So,
So you can't park in the street anyway?
well, I
right there.
can on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But then you got people that, like her, she would walk across the street, and then there's people flying around that corner all the time. I have plenty of videos. But, so my idea was to, like, the house next door would be like, it's like a curve, and then a pad would be right there. And it'd just go right up to the fireplace, halfway of the house, not all the way back. Yeah, that's all.
My
Is
cheat
this what
sheet's not
started?
working.
Oh.
Commissioner Barr, did you have something to say? Or is that you? Did you?
No, I didn't.
No, okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to let Commissioner Farina
Go ahead.
bump in here.
That was mine, shut off.
I don't see that we can give him any relief, all right? But he does have a case, if he wants to go for a variance, I would think he had a very strong case. If we do not have any, I mean, we can't grant him a site plan change. You know, it's not, you know, within what we can do. I'm going to ask you, Counselor, am I heading wrong, or?
No, that's correct. I mean, obviously, tonight's discussion is more substantive in nature, focused on what the city might do substantively for a zoning ordinance amendment. I do hear, obviously, his concerns, and, but you are correct that there's nothing for the Planning Commission to do in order to grant him relief.
I just wanted to be heard, that's all.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well,
Commissioner Kyle, go ahead, and then.
yeah, because I'm really confused on this. This is not adopted as of yet, correct?
No,
That's just one city.
Well, what
That's one
I
city.
Showing
understand that, but
Centerline.
we're bringing it up to make it here. I mean, driveway's been going in forever here with no permits unless you're doing the approach. But my biggest thing is why, did you say they said they wanted $800 just to submit?
$800 for that.
That blows my mind that
Yeah.
Fraser would do something like that.
Yeah, that's,
Well, that's,
That is the fee established for variances. I will say, public hearing notices cost between $400 and $600 for the newspaper, and the city needs to cover that, as well as the review fees.
They got to pay members.
That's our joke among us.
Yeah.
We want to pay raise, it's never going to happen. So when did you come to City Hall and ask for this? When was it?
about, I saw hers about a week and a half ago.
Week and a half ago, okay. And these
This
are
was
similar
started,
requests
though?
that you're getting, Ms. Sierra, is that correct? These are the same, similar?
It's, yes, very similar to this, yes.
Okay. Okay. And you basically said ZBA, go to ZBA?
I said I can't approve this, as in interpret the ordinance, so one direction is to go to ZBA, but you have to prove a land hardship there.
Okay. Okay.
well, or that
Practical
other
difficulty.
people in the area have a similar, you can enjoy a right of other people in the area.
That's one of the 4 conditions, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, the other option is, go to the building department and say, hey, what's going on? Why are all these people doing this without a permit? When my house was built in 95, I had to have permits for my concrete. My driveway, I had a 3-car driveway,
Just the right of way.
The whole driveway?
the whole driveway.
No. Go back into your things, because
It appears there are a lot of inconsistencies.
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
So I agree that we need to clarify it somehow.
Right.
Okay. And Mr. Buchanan, I want you to understand, this was for discussion only tonight. Well, I do appreciate your coming here.
Thank you for
But it's not a matter of solving
Right.
your issue. Do you understand that? Does your girlfriend want to speak? Would you like to speak? Come on up. I support that you need to accommodate your girlfriend's vehicle, that's for sure.
Yeah, just especially after getting hit by a car a few months ago with the way, and I grew up on Cambridge. So the original house is on Cambridge. So growing up in the area, having to walk across that street, and honestly, will be no parking during the winter. We'll be parking over a sidewalk, which you can't do.
Right.
It's just too small of a spot. Then you look at the neighbor's house right next to him, it has the same thing, and it's newer cement. And here he's getting turned down unless he pays all this money, and then there's still no guarantee
That he's going to get
that he's
granted.
going to even get approved or anything.
Right, yes, I understand. And for the record, would you please state your name and address?
Jennifer Babi, 12024 Bertley, Sterling Heights,
Okay.
48313.
Thank you. Okay, any questions of the two in the
Let me,
public? Go ahead.
Melissa, have you guys looked at this from legally in other areas besides what Lauren has looked at?
Last year, we adopted an impervious surface coverage ordinance in Sterling Heights. That's the one that just comes off the top of my head. But besides that, I'm not familiar with really looking at any other communities or adopting any other ordinances. But I do know that we did the Sterling Heights one about a year ago. And that was primarily aimed at the issue of people paving their whole front yards, so.
I like the discussion, but I'm going to put it back on you guys. What do you recommend? You're the professional. What would, and I don't want an answer tonight. I want you to go back and research it. What would you recommend after this discussion and all of we said about the city and where the city was, is, and is going to be? What would you guys recommend?
Commissioner Teller.
Just one more question for you guys, just because I can't really tell. Is there a side entrance to the garage on that side? Okay. That's all. Just wanted to,
So that paved area would go to the side entrance? Okay.
that's what I was trying to figure out too, if that was like the reason why his neighbors were able to do it, because they have an entrance door, and I was reading what it said, and it said like an entrance to the garage there. But I don't know if that also means it's a roll-up entrance to the garage, or if it means a physical, just a door to the garage. But it says here that unless it is necessary to provide access to a side entry garage, Well, again, person or car?
The part that you get hung up on is that it says for required parking, which is only two spaces, which is accomplished by the garage.
So all we need to do then is we need to, make it so people can have 3 or 4 cars? Like, set up instead of just a maximum of 2 cars allowed, or?
No. I
No?
don't think that's, I have a problem. I have a problem with lot coverage, personally, and with the permeable, non-permeable surfaces that we have now, you're going to create trespasses on other people's property. You know, when you, literally, down Fruhoff, there's a house that I know of, the entire backyard is cement, 80% of the backyard. And the people around them are flooding. That's creating a trespass on somebody else's property, and I don't think we can put in an ordinance that allows that to happen.
I think it's just a level that we need to decide is acceptable, because like in my house in particular, there's another house next to it that has like a 10 or 15 car parking lot. It's right off of Utica, and unfortunately that whole corner of my yard floods every single time it rains too. So I get what you're saying, that when it gets excessive, when you have a large, non-permeable surface, yes, the lot coverage is definitely something that we would want to establish, but also like, I don't know, I feel like 2 cars is not enough. Personally, I have more than 2 cars, so like, I'm lucky I have other places to put them.
It also comes to the substrate, what's there, because Fraser is famous for clay. Famous, and they call it Fraser clay.
Yep.
And it's, water will not permeate through it. And we do have a lot of veins of sand going through certain areas.
Yep.
And so if you do, you can go on and actually see the soils if you go into Macomb GIS. And you'll find how, so different areas react differently to the water there. Some will soak it right up, others won't. I remember a development, Fraser Meadows, where Frank's at, where it was built and and went through the whole process of approvals and everything, and they put in a perforated tile between the sanitary drains, and it was supposed to suck down into there. Well, the developer took all the topsoil, which we have an ordinance, you're not supposed to take the topsoil off the site. This was previous to my being here too, but he took it, sold it, made money on it, and brought in more clay and covered these areas so the water wouldn't permeate down 12 inches to get into these drains. So they called me, I went out to the site, I said, you got a shovel? And we went right through standing water that was there. And because I got the plan, and the plan shows a perforated pipe right between there, 12 inches lower. I took a shovel, dug out, it was all clay. Once I hit that, and it had pea stone coverage, once I hit that pea stone, all the water started saturating down. They're designed for a purpose, and that's what comes with the development of the subdivision. So think about all these old houses that didn't get developed with anything, and that clay that's there. It just makes things tough. Everybody's got, like I said, everybody's got different situations by their properties.
So with the over 12 houses and the other 4 at the end that are super wide driveways, has there ever been a clay incident or problem on Kingston Drive? I'm just wondering, because it seems like there isn't a problem with that over there.
Yeah, I couldn't tell, just in my time, I don't remember anything with problems there.
Yeah, to me, it's just more a safety issue because.
Take the microphone.
To me, it's just a safety issue, especially where the house is located. I know probably when I was 17, I flew around that corner half a dozen times, and the mailbox was recently taken out, and,
We've
yeah.
gone through a lot of mailboxes.
Yeah. Not
For a
much.
subdivision, though, you guys got a deep lot, don't you?
Not really.
No? Aren't those north side ones a little deeper on
No.
Kingston? Oh, I thought they were. Yeah.
There's only one that's over at the end of Kingston, which is the biggest lot behind,
Yeah,
so he's over there at that big lot. It's,
because you're back up to Luxembourg people, right? You're on the north side?
yes.
Yeah, so you would back up to the Luxembourg people. They have the deeper
They got
lots.
big lots, yeah.
Yes, okay, sorry,
All right. Any questions?
no.
Any questions? You can go ahead and have a seat in the audience. And keep track of our discussion, and you're welcome back. Or even if you have any comments, you want to go to the building department and ask questions or comment.
Okay,
Okay, keep reaching out to us.
great, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Did we get anywhere? Council members, anywhere at all? Mr.
We know
Farina
that-
said throw it back to the legal department,
Yeah, we know it's a problem.
and planning.
I think do some research, find that other impervious surface ordinance, do a search. I think you can go, can't you?
We both searched it now and
Searched
didn't
it and
find
everything?
anything.
Wow. Because it's definitely in the meetings, minutes.
We'll go back and check the records, I'm sure. We'll check your office records, I'll check mine, but we'll start there, and then from there, it seems like the direction might even be to, if it's not adopted, to enact it,
It was
but.
within 2 years of McKenna taking over. So if you search those 2 years.
2 years previously?
Just check the minutes of the meetings, and you'll see it right in there, impervious surface ordinance, the actual provided section, the actual word and everything. So we talked about it, I know, for a while, but it actually did happen at, because we did that and another thing at the same time. There were two ordinances at the same time, and that was one of them.
And that's through city council, correct?
Yes.
And it would, if it's a text amendment, it would have to
Should
be
be
a
in there,
public
minutes.
hearing, so maybe that's another avenue to check?
Yeah,
Public hearing.
we'll check. We'll check that first, and then from there, we'll do
If
some
I
more
get
research and come back next planning commission with a direction we recommend.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, takes care of that item, correct? Agenda item 8, public communication on non-agenda items, I'm not aware of any. Agenda item 9, monthly report, October 24. Ms. Sarah, do you have any comments on that?
No, due to the timing and when this was released, I think the only thing that's outdated is that the sheets was approved by city council. Other than that, I don't believe anything's really changed much from the last
Go
month.
ahead, Commissioner Farina.
Big boys.
I knew you were going to say, because it really says last October, it's November.
Yeah, so we did have, city administration had a meeting with the newer representatives that are going to be coming on board. It was a very good meeting, and we should be finishing everything up here shortly. But it was a very, very good meeting.
Good.
And they're moving in the right direction, so.
I have a question.
Sure.
What motivates the legal departments to get this done? Because in my opinion, the longer it goes on, the more the legal departments get paid. Okay?
You may be onto
It's,
something
it's,
here.
it's reaching that point. It has been since last December that this has been going on.
I hear you. It was a city administration decision to allow them to open temporarily. That was temporarily.
How long was temporarily for?
So that's based on the city administration's decision to let them to continue to operate. So they do not have a final certificate of occupancy at this point, because the outstanding items have not been completed. There have been, as I mentioned last time, some shuffling of individuals that were involved in Big Boy and Hockeyland, which has made it a little bit more difficult recently to try to finalize everything. But this is obviously something that everyone wants finalized, so we're trying to get it to the finish line as best we can.
Is there a deadline for it?
A deadline for what?
To complete it?
So in our meetings with city administration, we asked them to provide us the items within a few weeks, and those have been provided, and they're currently under review by the administration.
Thank you, Ms. Erickson. I have a question on, not a question, really, just a comment. 34575 Commerce Road, the Divergent.
Yeah.
Do you have any update on that? And my question,
So, yeah,
I hate
this
to
is,
see him go.
yeah, and, you know, admittedly, they told us the same thing in about 2 years ago, that they didn't need to get compliant because they were going to look for a new location. So we are keeping an eye on them. Code enforcement's keeping an eye, and we are moving forward with the current enforcements. I believe they are in court as well.
You're keeping in touch with whom? I'm sorry.
We're keeping an eye on the property, and we're also proceeding with enforcements for
Okay, and that's
zoning.
the litigation,
There is, yes, there is
the
they're on
the
litigation.
enforcement of the violation. Is that correct?
Do you
Whatever you
know a
can
little
share.
more,
I'm not sure I
Lisa?
understand the litigation comment.
The divergent commerce might not be yours. My understanding is that they are in court for zoning violations.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
The 14 Mile, the old Dairy Queen, I understand they went to court. Where do we stand with that,
Are they,
Alyssa?
I'm sorry, I do not know. I don't have an update on Dairy Queen.
Any other questions? Comments?
What section are we on here?
We are on the monthly report.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We are going to go to agenda item 10, Zoning Board of Appeals Member Liaison Report.
Okay. We had no meeting last month, okay? We are going to have a meeting tomorrow night. And there's a parcel of land on 33420 Utica Road, which is looking for a use variance for multiplex development. And it is a thin strip of land that goes back like a snake, and they are looking to put in condominiums in there. Next to it's right next to the other condominiums that we allowed.
Newberry condominiums.
Right, okay.
I was intrigued by that item, so I kind of drove by that today.
Okay.
The Newberry condominiums
Is
are
that where the house
beautiful.
is at now?
There is a house there. Is there not a
Between-
house on site?
Yeah.
Is-
In Fraser Villa and Newberry?
Yeah,
Okay.
There's a house.
Okay.
so we'll be dealing with that tomorrow night. I'm going to bring our discussion to driveways, because I've been asked by several of the people there, and they have a lot of, a couple of members have a lot of questions about driveways. And just like we had about, older areas, how do you do it? Can you be in the right of way, all that kind of stuff. So I'll bring that to them. We have two people up for reappointment, Joe Chimenti and Roseanne Menendez are up for reappointment to the board, and that is about the extent of what we have. Oh, the chairman asked me to poll the board if they would like matching shirts, because that's what the ZBA is going to go do, okay? I polled the board before this meeting, Madam Chairman.
Oh,
And
okay,
they-
thank
and
you.
they- and they
I
unanimous-
was not included, but thank you.
You already gave me your answer.
Did I? Okay. Okay, go ahead. What was determined?
They said they wanted to do it.
Okay.
Okay, now, you need to appoint somebody, probably your vice chairman or your secretary, to coordinate that effort. Because I am offering my wife to do free embroidery, but I'm not going out and buying the shirts and picking the material and the color and.
And that's the hard part, when you're talking about the size of our group. And I did talk to Roseanne Menendez, and she said she hasn't gone forward with that request either. But you're saying ZBA is going forward with it?
That's what she's supposed to go forward with, yes.
Okay. Who wants to be in charge? Who's my secretary? Who's our secretary?
I am.
You, Commissioner Meyer. She's saying no.
All you gotta do is say, everybody gives you a piece of paper with their,
You need sizes and and you need prices, and you need the color, and you need the material, and do you want short sleeve, long sleeve? There's a lot of variables to it.
oh, okay, I thought you were going with something consistent. so-
Everybody should go shopping together.
Fraser could get it for us as a Christmas present, too.
Keep on dreaming there, Commissioner Keller, okay?
You misunderstand this city.
A price range. I mean, those are the variables.
Can we recommend city council to pay for it? They'd have to at
It
least
won't
see
go
it.
very far either.
No, it won't go very far.
Take it out of our paychecks, but.
That won't go very far
It'll take a
either.
year to pay for it.
It would.
Okay. Commissioner Kyle,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like to take care of this?
No, and I'll explain why when it's time for our comments.
Commissioner Warnick? Would you like, Vice Chair? That's a good little project for you to step into the chair position come January. Right?
To me, it's not a big deal if that's what it
If-
needs to be, and
if-
it's just record keeping or doing something real quick. It's not, there's only 7 of us.
Yeah, oh, you're willing to go ahead and say,
I have no problem with that. It's
Okay.
just,
I'll let you do it then. That's your assignment, if you
mean,
can do that. You gonna do it, send us email, say, what do you want, or are you just gonna text? Okay.
Maybe I'll get a list together, and you send in, circle what you prefer.
Okay,
Then we'll look at it as a group and say, okay,
thank you, I appreciate it.
yeah, no problem.
All right, okay, you're in charge. All right, any other comments for that?
You'll be limited to colors. We're not gonna, oh, I like paisley or with this.
I think we want it all same color.
It's gotta be uniform.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
Gotta be
uniform
uniform.
color,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like what Mr. Kyle has, Honolulu blue personally.
Ooh, same.
Got it. The Lions, man.
Go Lions.
Okay. We're going to go to agenda item 11, commissioners' comments and items of interest and concern. Commissioner Kyle, would you like to start?
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, yeah. I've been on this board many years and I love it, but December will be my last meeting. I'm going to resign.
Okay.
I don't want to give a reason with the microphone, but I'll be more than happy to talk to you on the phone.
Okay. Okay. We don't want you to go.
I didn't want to go either before tonight, but.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No,
Commissioner Warnick?
Nothing, I just wanted to get to Lauren a thing that, if you could correct it before we get into the car wash one. Page 3 of the site plan review, right at the top, just changed, it says, I gotta get my glasses on for this one. Given the configuration and nature of the site, its side loading may be required at the secretion of the planning commission.
Oh,
I don't think that works, right? So I think it's discretion.
Okay, yeah, I have to update their site plan when they submit
Yeah,
it.
that's the only thing I
Anyway.
saw. When I was going through it, it kind of stuck right out in my hair.
Yep,
So
no-
I figured, hey,
no-
let's change it before we get involved with it.
Sure thing, yeah, no secreting, please, thank you.
Yeah.
thank you,
That was it.
Commissioner Warnick.
Nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Barr, do you have anything to say?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Commissioner Farina?
Yes, I want to thank everybody who supported the fundraiser. Mr. Kyle, whose company bought a sponsorship, and you people who bought horses, and people who came. It was a great success, and the money is going to be used to help people who need help. So, thank you. I just have, we have a master plan that was updated and put into effect in 2021. So that means we have to have an update for 2026, right?
You have to review it at least.
Yes. Yes. And make a recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to see, us move forward on doing that. That's just, you have to agree with that, and, that's just my thing.
that was a long process.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
That was during COVID, so it was kind of,
Yeah.
the Zoom meetings, and it was cumbersome,
Yeah.
but we did a good job.
I'd
Anything?
like to see it acted upon, too. But that's not up to us. The city council meeting, I thought, was very informative about sheets. We made a recommendation, the city council went a different way, and in my mind, that's fine. And in my mind, you don't burn the buildings down because you don't get your way. And you don't hold grudges because you don't get your way. And so I told the city council that I felt that we as a planning commission would be here doing our job the way we see we should be doing it, and they have the right to make the decision that they want to make.
Well, it's not the right, they had the authority to
The
make the
authority.
decision,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I meant.
Yes, yeah.
So, I didn't like the decision, but it's their job to make those decisions, and it's a tough job,
It is a tough job.
you know.
I give them credit.
And I-
It's very tough.
I want to say that, Madam Chairman, that was one of the toughest meetings since I've been here There's only been one other meeting that's been worse than the meeting you had to chair, and that was the crematorium.
Oh, okay.
No.
That went to 3:00 in the morning.
Whoa, my goodness, okay.
So you did a great job, and I think we all did what we thought was right, and, so we'll go on and continue to do what we think is right.
Commissioner Meyer,
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Teller.
Go Lions.
I've been setting MC since 2008, through all them losing seasons, like.
I'm was going to maybe possibly talk to city council, but I agree with Commissioner Farina. They had a tough assignment with our conditional rezoning. Personally, my comments were based on the master plan. I think that's our role. We adopted the master plan, they adopted it, and that was my portion, my part of my comments. So they had a hard, they did well. It was a very well-run meeting, and there were maybe a good handful of people who were supportive of it at that time, as opposed to, I think all of our comments during our public hearing were all objections to it. So it was interesting.
It was funny because somebody put a text out last night, to just add to your comments, that the library voted to buy the bank. And everybody, it's going around, I'm doing elections, and all of a sudden this buzz is going around, Well, the old library building was a bank,
Okay.
but nobody thought about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
They
All
say,
right.
how the hell can they do that? But anyway.
I have one more comment.
Oh, but can I first say one thing before you go into that? Because we're talking on the other thing.
Sure.
I had somebody come to me and just say, well, now that council approved it, that's it. It's a done deal. There's nothing else. No, it doesn't go to planning commission. It's still got to go for a site plan. We got to
So
still.
It's a little bit of a different.
It's going to
twist.
planning commission, but it's just to confirm that they're meeting the standards that they outlined in the conditional rezoning agreement. So planning commission cannot impose additional things. It's more so an administrative process, a double check on that it's all being done correctly.
Right. The site plan is inclusive of the conditional rezoning
Additional,
agreement.
yeah, it's kind of weird, but.
Yeah. Well, that's the way conditional rezonings work.
Right, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Facebook did a questionnaire on it, and I was surprised on, more people said that they're happy it passed than it was against it.
There were a lot of people, well, again, it wasn't everybody who's spoken supportive of it, but a lot of
So a lot
people
of the people
think.
that live in Fraser are for it.
Correct. That's what the public hearings are for. So, yeah.
It's right about America.
My comment before I ask, go ahead. Miss Sarah, do you have any comment before I say anything? Mine's very insignificant.
If you haven't, please take the zoning ordinance survey. That's about it. We're going through the update, and we have a survey out currently.
Are you
It's
getting a
on the website.
response, a good response?
It's about 40 so far.
How many?
40.
That's not a good response. You think?
Tell all your
What were
friends.
you
Tell your friends to take it. I'm hoping for 100.
100? Were you, or anybody present at the firehouse?
Yes.
opening? And so did you get people at that point too?
Admittedly, more people were interested in going around the firehouse with their children and
Okay.
kind of trick or treating. So,
Okay.
understand.
And were we not supposed to get something in a little flyer in the water bill?
There was a note at the bottom with a QR code.
I didn't see it. Did anybody else see it? I didn't see it.
Our bills were all late.
Oh,
And I don't-
my last one wasn't. Unless we're looking at the one coming forward, maybe. I don't know.
They should be in next month's bill as
Maybe
well.
next month. Okay.
It was in October's. There was a delay where there was a printing issue, but the finance department said they would keep it on for another month.
Okay.
I did try to scan the QR code that you had posted outside on the door, and that wouldn't scan.
Sometimes in this building we had that issue with like service and things. It didn't quite. You can also visit the website. It has a website on there, and it's also online on the city's website. There's a news post about it, and the
Okay.
Facebook
They have hard copies at the senior center also.
and City Hall. Yeah.
Yeah. Ms. Erickson, you have anything? Baby healthy?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. My comment is, I did follow through with the clerk's office on our ID badges. I have no response yet. I reached out to August and said, asked if he could, do some research. There were plenty of commissioners that don't have a badge, and I'm looking at my badge, and I look very beautiful. That's back in Richard Haberman's day, so it's old. So, I will follow through with August and see if we can get some ID badges. And that's my only comment, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
I'm-
motion to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Kyle, support by Commissioner Meyer to adjourn the meeting. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hey.
Any nays? The meeting's adjourned, and we have it at 8:41. Thank you for a nice meeting, everyone.